going to recommence and go to this second session for the morning. I'd like to also thank our hosts, the Korea Airports Corporation, again for sponsoring this last. People are coming in, which is good. Okay, I'm going to just get started then. You know, being the host or the master of a ceremony can be really fun and rewarding. And when it comes to this next speaker, I have to say it's really special for me. Because Mr. Quick from Amazon Web Services used to be on my team some 20 plus years ago when I led the airport business unit at SEGA. I've had the opportunity to watch him grow and develop his talents and experience in this industry to become the thought leader that he has. And I know that he will be pushing us as he gives his keynote address. It's about generative AI, again, let's get AI, and really sharp new skies for aviation. So Bob, the floor is yours, and I'm very proud.
Thank you very much, Patrick. We appreciate the introduction. And thank you everyone for being here today. You know, it's so surprising to just talk about the amazing venue that we have here. Isn't it so cool that we're in an airport terminal with like actual check-in desks and actual airport seats? This is like the best airport conference venue that I've ever been in. So my name is Bob Quick. I'm the worldwide head of airports and ground transportation at Amazon Web Services. And I'm going to talk to you today about generative AI. So I'll try to explain a little bit about what technology is, some of the trends we're seeing, how airports and travel companies are adopting it, and a little bit of a glimpse maybe into what's happening in the future. And hopefully along the way, I'll try to dispel some myths or misconceptions. My first misconception was to get to bring the clicker. I don't know if the tech folks have a clicker for me. Okay, brilliant. So one of the misconceptions that I get all the time with artificial intelligence and airports is that artificial intelligence is some kind of new, that it's a new thing for airports and it's a new thing for the industry. So we see airports are using artificial intelligence all over the world and have done so for years. One of the first I came across was Brussels Airport, and we've got some Brussels Airport and airport intelligence folks here today. And they use artificial intelligence for forecasting flight demand and demand of airport resources. We also see airports that we have use artificial intelligence for predictive maintenance, as well as autonomous equipment in the airport terminal and on the ramp. And Mark talked about the autonomous feeding equipment that they have here in both airports. And we also have lots of autonomous equipment for aircraft terminal as well. And computer vision, of course, is an artificial intelligence technology, and that's used a lot in airports for understanding behavior in particular, and also optimizing aircraft turnaround. And of course, biometrics, I think we have data points, 80+% of airports are using biometrics, and biometrics is all built on artificial intelligence, and we also saw the Digi, for example, in India, rolling out the AI platform across the entire country. I'm not sure if everyone has experience or anyone has experience the Amazon Just Walk Out Store technology. It's in about 20 airports in the US, and with a full combination of sensors and cameras with computer vision and AI, you can walk into the store, grab the products off the shelf, and just walk out without having to go through and check out. Again, it's all built on AI. And lastly, of course, we have generative AI, which is the topic of the conversation today. And one of the early use cases we're seeing in a role airports is working on developing a similar application is to use generative AI to improve the passenger experience in self-service touchpoints, like we've seen with Manchester. So I just want to put generative AI in the context of AI overall. So this is my little bit of an education slide. So AI uses computer technology to make logical decisions that simulate human behavior. And then machine learning is often talked about as like the basis of AI, so AI now. And machine learning uses data patterns to predict or make forecasts around a set of data. And that's machine learning that's used for forecasting airports, for example, and that's machine learning that's used for predictive maintenance. And then deep learning is a more sophisticated form of artificial intelligence. And that's where you use deep neural networks that simulate how the human brain works. And that allows you to do more complex artificial intelligence like image recognition or speech. So like Alexa, for example, or image recognition like biometrics. And that brings us to generative AI, which is what all the excitement is about. And generative AI is built on what's called a foundation model that uses billions of parameters and enormous amounts of data to create a human-like experience with AI. So some of the things that we all see with generative AI is really interacting with technology. It's really natural, conversational, and again, the AI system seems almost human-like. And I think we've all experienced the productivity gains through generative AI. I'm not sure how many people here have written their kids' homework using generative AI or written emails, updated your LinkedIn profile. Lots and lots of people are improving their productivity using generative AI. But it also gives you great insights into your data, into your own information, whether it's analyzing reports, analyzing charts, looking for correlations between different sets of documents. We're really seeing the productivity gains from generative AI providing insights into your own data. And lastly, the kind of fun, exciting part is all around creativity, where we see generative AI creating images, creating songs, creating videos, and we're seeing lots of growth there around the creativity side. So people often ask me, okay, Bob, you work for Amazon, what's Amazon doing in the generative AI space? So I just want to give you some examples maybe of the kind of things that we've done and that we've built. Some of the experiences, you can see at the back, the summaries of reviews on the Amazon.com shopping site. So we all have loads of reviews you have to go through to see if you want to buy the product or not. And now we have an AI generated summary with some AI kind of bullet points and generated as well. And I also think that's just a fantastic way of illustrating the power of generative AI. You still have all of the existing customer reviews, but then you have a summary of clearly statements being created by AI to help you quickly understand what the reviews might be, and even dive a bit deeper if you want. We've built a chatbot on the Amazon.com shopping app, so you can chat to an app called Lucas that allows you to discover new products. We've also built generative AI into Amazon Music, so you can talk about the mood that you're in, and then Amazon Music will recommend a playlist to match your mood. It's also on Amazon Prime, and the built for Prime users that when you go through your Prime experience, it now has a generative AI-based personalization to suggest movies and experiences you might want to enjoy. We have a product called Amazon Connect, which is like a contact center solution. That's also another great illustration of how generative AI works in business. So the AI system can summarize the call that the agent has with the customer, and can also do quality checks automatically and from your background. And one of the really cool examples is for sellers on Amazon. If they've got a product that they want to sell and want to create nice images or even videos, we now have generative AI-based tools where you can go and you can, as a seller, take your product, and the AI tools will create a really cool background, and you can create a movie around the product that you're trying to sell. So I work in Amazon Web Services, which is the bit over there, and we have developed lots of products and services to help our customers build solutions like these for their customers. So a few examples in the travel space, Ryanair, I think everyone's heard of Ryanair by now. So Ryanair built a chat service where Ryanair staff can phone up the contact center, and then an automated agent can give the Ryanair staff the information they need if they have any kind of queries about the roster or the rules or the guidelines. United Airlines are using generative AI to help understand the passenger name record for PNR. So anyone in the industry will know how complex it is to read a PNR, and you need tons and tons of code and loads of rules to deal with all of the different complexities of the free-form text nature of a PNR. And United Airlines built a generative AI solution that will automatically parse the PNR into structured data. TUI is one of the world's largest travel companies. They operate hotels, and they have cruise ships, they also have a travel agency, and they have an airline. And they are using generative AI across their business one of the really cool use cases is they're using generative AI to create images on their website to help market their properties. Booking.com also use generative AI to help travelers discover new experiences. As you go onto your Booking.com website, you have a conversational chat about what you want to do, and then the AI will recommend properties that meet your need. What's really cool about the way Booking.com has implemented it is the description of the properties will match the conversational chat that you had with the AI. So as you go through and you explain, well, I want to go to the Caribbean and I'm going on honeymoon, then it recommends properties in the Caribbean, but it'll describe those properties in a way that's most appealing to people going on a honeymoon. What's common about all these examples is the amount of sort of non-AI data that you need to power these solutions. So the generative AI piece really is the tip of the iceberg. And it's all those underlying data, all the documents, all the policies, all the databases that are required to support these conversations and support these interactions, whether it's an internal tool or a customer-facing tool. I think this is one of the biggest myths or misperceptions that I've seen with airports and other customers around generative AI. You know, they might go on to something like ChatGPT and then ask a question about their airport, and ChatGPT will get it slightly wrong, and they'll go, oh, you see, it doesn't work. But the real value of generative AI for your business is to use it on your data. So the generative AI machine learning foundation model will use your data to answer your questions or provide information or guidance or insights on your business to your customers and to your employees. And that's the big sort of mindset shift that it needs to work on your own data. Which brings me to the sort of next myth or concern around generative AI, and that's, you know, my data. Wait a second, I don't want my data going out onto the public internet. I don't want my data being used to train the foundation models. And with AWS and with others, your data is never exposed to the public internet. It's encrypted when you send it into AWS. And then also it's not used to retrain the model, and the data stays where you put it. So if you're working out of a particular region, your data stays within that region. So you can build solutions that are compliant with things like GDPR, and you can also build solutions that are compliant with things like HIPAA for medical purposes. So again, your data is the absolute foundation for generative AI, and your data is secure. So just because your data is secure still isn't necessarily automatic to go and build generative AI solutions. There are challenges involved. I think it was Justin who said earlier about giving your people the tools and the freedom to innovate. So the best practice that we have found in AWS around responsible generative AI is to put your people first and make sure that your people are empowered with the tools and the technology and the training and the guardrails to make the right decisions. And then also assess the risks on a case-by-case basis, and then design the solution with that risk in mind. We have an airport that's gone live with a generative AI solution to respond to emails coming in from passengers. But the way they built the solution is that passengers will email in to the airport, and then the AI solution will provide a response, but then a customer service agent will review the email before it gets sent out to the passenger. And that way you have that human in the loop element in order to reduce the risk of the generative AI solution. Maybe in the future, the human in the loop will go away, but for now, you can see that the airport is kind of iterating towards using generative AI, but also mitigating the risk. Again, you need to constantly iterate and constantly test in order to get the desired outcome. We have a really cool podcast with Manchester Airport Group, and it's with about 4 people who actually worked on the project. The link is there. You can go and you can listen and really understand how they went through that process, how they picked the foundation model, how they dealt with the language translation issues, and how they built the prototype, and then eventually came to the real world outcome. So it's a great way to get that kind of hands-on view of what happens in the room when people are developing these solutions. So we see lots of different use cases for airports. Everything from customer service. So we have like chatbots, for example, and again, Rome Airports is developing something similar. But also solutions to help staff deal with customers. That kind of human in the loop. So you imagine a big complex airport, so you have the information they need to respond to passenger queries. And again, generative AI can help the staff have the information that they need. We also see it a lot with passenger engagement. So how do you get passengers better engaged with the airport? One of the really cool use cases is real-time language translation, especially for airports that have a lot of international travelers. I think we're seeing the most sort of trials and proof of concepts in AWS around optimizing the core operations. We have an airport in the US that's using generative AI to help resolve the management issues. And you can imagine if you've got a lighting system or a heating system or an air conditioning system and it's broken, it can be very difficult for the airport technicians, especially for a modern airport, to try to troubleshoot and diagnose what the problem is. But I'm putting all the design documents and all the user guides for all of the equipment into the generative AI model, then the maintenance staff can go in and use that to query and understand what's the most likely root cause, and then the AI solution will also direct the staff to the correct maintenance guide so they can go in and solve the problem. So again, it's not really generative AI that's solving the problem for the technicians, but again, it's the AI solution that's using the corpus of information that the airport has to help quickly guide the staff member to the right answer, again, using the airport's own information. For me, I think the most exciting possibility or prospect for generative AI is around this. And you can imagine as you go in your travel experience and things go wrong as they always do, it's very difficult and very cumbersome for staff and for passengers to recover from a delay or disruption. So we see lots of customers are now experimenting in this space. But really the challenge with disruption management is it's quite a complex process. A lot of things have to happen for you to respond to a delay or disruption. There's flight rebooking, there's coupons for meals, there's booking hotels, there's informing people. And I think that's the kind of next frontier of generative AI. So what does the future hold and where is the industry going? Well, for me, the most exciting piece is the agents on generative AI. And that's where, using my disruption management example, you give a complex use case or a complex requirement to the AI model. And it will, by itself, go and figure out what various tasks that need to be performed to resolve that action. And then it'll go off by itself, perform each of those individual tasks. Maybe it'll go and get some more data. It'll search through your internal documents. It might go back to a staff member and get more information. It might perform an action by an API to an external system. And by itself, it'll figure out all the different tasks that need to take place in order to complete the action. The next exciting area is around multimodal. So we're seeing lots of chat-based interaction with generative AI. You type in and it types back. But we're seeing more and more of the voice interaction with AI. Some of you might have experienced that. But also using documents and videos and images. So you just drop in a document, or you drop in a video, or you drop in an image, and the generative AI model will come back with an answer, depending on what it is you need. And vice versa, the AI model will be able to return in whatever format that you like. So I mentioned about generative AI being built on foundation models. And there's lots and lots of different foundation models. Some are expensive, some are really comprehensive, some are fast, some are good at languages, some are good at chat, and some are good at generating images. And what we're seeing is customers now are building generative AI solutions using lots of different foundation models. So I mentioned TUI earlier, and TUI, the travel operator, use generative AI to create images, but they also use it to create summaries of hotels for their guests that you can interact with by chat. And then they use one foundation model for the chat piece, and then they use a different one to get the information to the traveler using the summary of the hotel property. And we're increasingly seeing lots of different foundation models being used. The policies and the standards are still being developed. So a lot of concerns when I talk to airports around really leaning into AI is the airports are saying, well, we don't have a policy, we don't have guidelines, we don't have guardrails for our staff, and they're hesitant to have them go and play with anything until we have the appropriate policies in place. So we're seeing that taking place at a national and a global level, and and we're also seeing it take place at an airport level as well. I think really for us as an industry to accelerate our adoption of, not AI necessarily, because that's quite well established, but to accelerate our adoption of generative AI, we really need to have the necessary policies in place. And I think rather than every airport individually developing those policies, it's far better to try and do it at a national or regional or global level. So my message that I'll leave with is give it a go, try it out, encourage your staff to use generative AI. There's lots of tools and services available there. But I encourage you to look at it from the use case level. It's all very well to go and play with it and see what happens. But instead, think about the business problems that you're trying to solve and look at the technology through the lens of the business problem and the lens of the use case. Otherwise, it just becomes the technology that you're trying to solve, that you're trying to find the problem for. Instead, think about it as what use case can I solve for, and then go and look at the tools and the people and the resources you need to address that particular use case. And get started. Prioritize your projects. Pick the ones that will have the most impact with the lowest cost and the lowest risk. And again, we see lots and lots of airports doing trials and proof of concepts, provided they have their staff trained and they have the right tools and the right guardrails in place. So I will leave you with that. I think I'm right on time. That's a miracle. The rest of the day, so I'd love to, we don't have time for Q&A, but I'd love to have a chat with Annie and all of this. I'm guessing that there's some stuff in there, you had some concerns, maybe the agents thing sounds a bit weird, AI is going to take over the world, so any questions you have about this, any concerns, feel free to find me, and I'd love to have a conversation about it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. One of those concerns, you talk about generative AI, it's going to make these suggestions for you, that's all great, but in a sense, doesn't that actually limit our innovation, being innovative, my creativity? I don't know if I really want the machine to start telling me I need to buy this, I like that. Just, you know what, I'm the host, I get to challenge you. So no, you don't get to answer them. We gotta move on. So I just need that for everybody to think. You might think it's an age difference too, because I am of that older generation, and maybe we don't like to have, a machine telling me, oh, look at this, when I want to be open and free and look at that. And just to pick on Bob, because I can, for all you young professionals out there, when he kept saying the word, yeah, it's really cool, he wasn't referring to temperature, he was talking about fire. It was fire. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, moving on. We are going to start with our first panel session. So, as we bring up the chairs, women power, good thing. All right, I'd like to call on Pierre Charbonneau from ACI World and his panelists to make their way to the stage. The first panel discussion will be how innovation can be placed at the very core of the airport business and truly executed. So Pierre and panelists, the floor is yours.
So good morning, everyone. Very pleased to be here to moderate this next session on innovation. I'm joined by an extremely exclusive panel, and we're going to bring you great insights from a senior executive view of the different concepts of innovation that we're going to cover throughout the session. As Catherine mentioned, the heading of this session is how to put innovation at the core of your business and truly execute it. And the word execute was carefully chosen because on the most positive sense, execute means driving it, implementing it, keeping sustainable. But executing could also mean having the courage to quickly kill innovation and learn from what didn't work to make it even better. So throughout this session, we're going to get some insights from our guests that will only cover that. Also during the session, we're trying to cover three main objectives. So we'll see if we reach our goal at the end based on your judgment. So one of the topics we want to discuss the importance and the impact of innovation in general, but especially in the context of airports. This is the theme of our event. We're going to go through different notions of innovation culture, processes, How do you measure success when you launch innovation? And what challenges do you have to overcome when you launch this process within your organization? And finally, with the support of my panelists, you will hear insights on best practices to guide and manage your teams in implementing a culture and driving the organizations towards success. So let me first introduce my guest on stage, starting in the center of the stage with Ms. Laila Udina. She is the chairperson of the executive board and CEO of Riga Airport. Then right to my left, Mr. Emanuele Cava, who is the Senior Vice President, Transformation and Technology at Airport in Roma. And to my extreme right, Mr. Ismail Polat, Senior Vice President of Development at Dubai Airport. So to set the stage, I'm going to ask same questions to my panelists, the first couple of questions, then we'll move to more details. And towards the end of the presentation, I'll leave some time for questions. Hopefully you have some questions based on what my panelists will say. So let me just move up to the stage now. All right, so Laila, can you tell me what innovation means to the organization? How do you define innovation in the context of the airport?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, behind each and every innovation innovative project is an idea, and if idea is completed and brings new product or new service, then it is an innovation. It can be also improved existing procedure or code.
Okay, Ismail, maybe if I ask your perspective.
Innovation, I think it's interesting. It's one of the defining words for Dubai itself. When you talk about Dubai, it's one of the words, the first subjects that come to you, innovation. And at Dubai airports, innovation is our natural way of doing business very much. That's the way that we want to see it. It doesn't come from just, say, technology or digitalization. It's coming from people, it's coming from process, it's coming from business itself. So it's a total transformation of aviation itself. And we do that, we're not in a position of doing it ourselves only. It's an ecosystem where we have airlines, AMSP, civil aviation, regulators, all together in that mix. And try to bring that in the daily work of airports operations. And the whole idea is to be able to provide the best experience for our passengers, for our own people working at the airport itself, and for the business of the airport itself also.
So it's a large comprehensive package of everyone in the ecosystem.
Pretty much, that's what it is.
Emmanuel, from your perspective.
Okay. For us, sorry for my voice. For us, innovation is not just a buzzword, it's a strategic pillar of our strategy in order to create value for the company. So innovation is not a goal, it's a lever to reach and face the challenges airports currently have to manage. So first of all, increase capacity, not only enlarging the infrastructure, but managing more passengers, more aircraft in the same area. Increase passenger satisfaction, and also create a sustainable development of our activities. And at the end, also diversification and going also developing our initiatives and activities not only inside the airport, but also enlarging our scope on town through digital solutions, so a way to exit from the terminal and increase our activities.
Great. Innovation within an organization has different models. There's different trials that have been done. Some organizations have carved innovation to certain teams or certain roles or functionality. Others have had it widespread. So maybe Laila, if I can ask you, what are the key ingredients to instill this culture of innovation within your organization? What tactics are you taking to make sure it spreads sustainably?
The Rome airport and Dubai airport, Riga is pretty small. So at the end of this year, we will have 7.1 million passengers, and by 2030, around 10, and by 2035, we will reach around 12 million passengers. This is pretty much probably the maximum we can reach out from a small country of Latvia with 1.8 million people living there. Why I'm saying that we all understand that we are forecasting the growth, so we have to set the proper infrastructure in place. Airlines passengers are not ready to pay more for that, and so we have to get financing. For getting financing, you have to be very efficient. You have to be very sustainable, and when it comes to efficiency, you have to get all these ideas. So we probably cannot afford to have a whole department with innovation team who are looking around at ideas. But what we are doing, we have established idea bank in our airport. Past 3 years since it is existing, we have received more than 300 different ideas. Around 10% are implemented, and these ideas about basically everything covering customer experience, covering working environment, efficiency, improvement of different processes, and this works pretty well. Apart of it, of course, we are looking around what other airports are doing and using expertise of other airports and professionals who are working there. And we also are involving young generation. We are organizing different hackathons where students are coming and giving a bunch of ideas how airport should look like and what processes should be improved and what should be implemented and so on. And so on.
You've already touched on a topic which I will come later in terms of how you decide on these ideas, but thanks a very large scope of work. Ismail, from your perspective, the culture of innovation at Dubai Airport, how does that permeate throughout the organization?
Well, it starts with the vision itself, of course. And this morning we heard our CEO Paul mention how the vision started. 17 years ago when he first joined Dubai Airports, we were talking about 35 million passengers. And to give you another perspective, around the same time, Istanbul was also around 35 million passengers. You will see a very strong growth at both locations, Emirates and Turkish Airlines. Istanbul Airport reached to 65, 68 million around 2017-18. But the level of service was quite high. The delays were extreme, in a very struggling environment, restricted environment. There was no way to grow, no way to improve any modes of the process of the passenger operations. That's why Istanbul and Turkey decided to develop a new airport, Istanbul Airport, which I was part of the development team. And the idea that Istanbul Airport was to put innovation right up at the design stage of that new greenfield airport, and all the way to operational concept. So it was born with innovation in its place. Here in Dubai, with Paul and the team, when they saw the potential that Emirates bring to Dubai and the country itself has, they put innovation in the first part of that work. Now today we can probably say that 93 million passengers with 1,700 employees only. That's one of the highest rates of employee per passenger. And that shows you the proof of that concept. And all that time, while Istanbul's level of service was going down, Dubai was going up. So you can see that innovation needs to be there. You cannot really attach it to the operation. It's to come within itself. Now we are at Dubai looking at enhancing that what we inherently already have into the new concept of Al International Airport, which is going to be a 250 million plus passenger airport, going to be the biggest in terms of capacity and size and in terms of operation. But we want to define a new level of operation, new level of service, new level of putting innovation into the operation itself, again, for our guests, for our people, and for the ecosystem of the airport. So this requires everyone involved in the organization to put effort to be ready for the transformation. Innovation means you can say that I'm going to buy this technology. That's not how innovation works. It needs to come within itself, and you need to be ready to go to that transformation phase. And I think Dubai is extremely mature in that sense. That transformation is accepted as a process. I'm not saying it's complete. It's a process ongoing quite successfully. And I can easily say that we're going to be ready for the new ideas of operation and the new report that we're working on.
We've already touched on the concept of sort of measuring the impact of it so that teams momentum within the organization. So we'll come back to that. Now, if I can ask the same question.
As you said that there is not one size fits all solution for innovation, and it's the skill for developing the culture of the innovation inside a company. In 2020, we developed a new innovation model based on four main pillars. One of these was the goal was to develop the culture of innovation inside the company. And we work on three P: place, processes, and people, like handbook of customer experience of ACI. So we work on people. We engage them creating an innovation cabin crew, a group of colleagues, each representing department. So due to the fact that innovation is transversal inside and outside the company, we really need our colleagues from HR, from procurement, from operations, from commercial, because they have the knowledge, all the info and know how to develop innovation. So we created an innovation team dedicated but not autonomous, working together in a hub and spoke model with the other colleagues in order to propose projects in a bottom-up approach and then top-down approach with the creation of an innovation committee chaired by our CEO or senior vice president of the company to authorize and develop the solution. So we really want to avoid the creation of a hybrid tower of innovation aspect, talking about the Gen AI, automation, robot, knowing anything about the real experience of our passenger and the real needs of our colleagues. So first of all, we work on processes. We work also on people, creating this innovation cabin crew, and also launching a hangar program, a program of entrepreneurship. So a call for ideas for all the employees of our airport Roma in order to engage them and let let and make our colleagues more aware about what we are doing in terms of innovation. They are part of our innovation processes, so everyone inside the company can speak in terms of innovation and propose an idea. For instance, we launched the first program in this year. We obtained more than 50 proposals by our colleagues. Two group of colleagues won the prize, and in the next year they will travel to Silicon Valley, working with the best startups of Silicon Valley, developing their ideas in California. So this is very important for us. And also we work on place, and we created, we designed and built an innovation hub inside the Terminal 1, where we hosted the event of ACI Europe yesterday, of Innovation Forum of Asia Europe. It's the perfect place inside an airport to develop innovation together with the innovation team, innovation cabin crew, other colleagues from staff and operations inside the company, inside the airport, where there are passengers, there are all the colleagues working every day to improve our processes.
So I pick up from the three P's you have, like the people aspect is really important. And ironically, sometimes innovation could be a scary concept for staff because it might be, well, where's my job going to go? How is it going to change? So the fact that you involve them and recognize the success, I think it certainly makes them ambassador of innovation within the company. If I can stay with what you built up, because the innovation hub, a lot of airports are getting into innovation hubs, thinking about the concept involving startups. So you are a successful one here. Can you drive us maybe as an extension to what you're doing internally? Why this idea came about, where are you today, and what's your vision for the future with the hub?
Okay, yes, we decided to build an innovation hub in 2021. So it was not the perfect time to develop something during the pandemic. So quite weird to develop an innovation hub, but as already before, the colleagues said that innovation is not only technologies. So it's also have a creative different point of view and the possibility to look forward. So we create the innovation hub inside the airport for two main reasons. Why? Because airports are not only a set of gate, check-in, security checkpoint area. At the end, they are a smart city. Fiumicino, for instance, so manage 100,000 passengers a day, plus 100,000 employees. So we are talking about a median city, Italian city. We have first aid, we have obviously parking, stands, restaurant, bar. We have a cogeneration plant, power plant. So at the end, we have all the solution and we have the best place to develop innovation. So this is why we created the innovation hub in order to attract startups from all over the world and having a place where developed POC and project together with the ADR team. And the second reason is that we really want to give innovation a concrete approach. So it's the best way to highlight the relevance of innovation for our company. And this is the reason why we build inside the terminal. So for us, it's easier to understand well the processes and the behaviors of passengers, but also it's a statement of our effort on innovation for all the passengers that go to terminal.
Laila, I want to ask you now, we're going to talk about the process of innovation. You mentioned before you've received a number of ideas ranging from process to technology to different things. Your airport is active and trying to find new processes and improvement. Can you take us through the process you're following to take an innovation idea and decide we're going to move forward? What is the process, first of all, and on what criteria do you decide to move forward with an innovative idea?
Yeah, we created the process as simple as possible for our employees to submit ideas, but all in all, the process is not so easy until we implement the idea. First of all, if you have an idea, you submit it, and we have a centralized system where you can submit your idea. There is a working group committee who is going through the list of all the ideas, evaluating them. Is this innovative idea, or maybe it's just an idea about improvement or something uniform or whatever. Yeah, if it is an innovative idea, it goes to head of department because we all have strategies, we have strategic goals, and heads of department usually are working and setting up action plans how to achieve these goals. At the same time, there is this idea which came unexpectedly, and they create sometimes not so positive emotions from heads of departments or persons they are reported to, because it's an extra job. You have to evaluate, and if idea is good, so it means you have to create an action plan. You have to create to go with this project to project management team and prove that really it's needed. So it's not so easy to submit, but it takes a long time until it's implemented, because if it requires financing, then maybe it's only next year's budget where you can implement the idea.
We'll come back to the challenges and do more details, but that driving maybe up the process. How about you, Ismail? What's the process you're using? How do you decide to move forward with an idea? What are the criteria you have in mind?
The way, of course, our strategy is three main pillars that people, guest, and corporate business. And under this pillars, the three pillars, we have 75 different grouping of ideas, and from operational excellence to minimizing the environmental footprint to increase the level of service of passengers. So that it covers the entire airport ecosystem. From under that umbrella, we have developed several master plan items. One of them is passenger experience, one of them is digital transformation. Those areas of strategy use the avenues for our employees to look at in their perspective and their responsibility, together with the people that they're working, to come up with innovative ideas. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem that we're trying to solve, but we want to go beyond that problem statement. We are doing already good, but can we make it better? This is a question, constant question that we're telling our guys to look at that and bring that question to us. It's a very democratic environment that everyone brings the ideas in groups, the two committees, one is called One DXB. One DXB committee is trying to put all Dubai Airport's ecosystem together to look at from everyone's point of view for the issues. The other one is what we call Bring Your Dubaians, which is trying to bring the unique element of Dubai into your operation. And the ideas come from both sides. Just yesterday, we had one of those committee meetings. We have, as of November, 450 use cases submitted that are put into the next 3 years. We don't expect that 450 will go live. We expect that probably about 10% of it, 45 to 50 of those elements really have great value creation to be a real success of innovative idea, enhancing the passenger experience, enhancing the capacity, putting a new avenue for resilience, and great potential to bring all the parties together. So the next 3 years, out of that 450 or targeted 50, let's say, will generate even more elements for us. So we want to try to be open about that. The key issue here is we need to make sure that really that innovation, that idea, does it really generate the value that we're looking for? And that requires benchmarking, being able to understand that process, being able to measure the performance. I'm also a member of Performance Review Commission of Eurocontrol. We are independent body, and our job is to look at the performance of the pan-European aviation network of 41 countries. That was one of the questions we raised when I first started 2 years ago. There are a lot of innovation happening. How can we measure that? What is the performance benchmark for those? That is a difficult question. But there are ways, I guess, as we see it, bringing out the flagship project, identifying the benefits, looking at the real results of the data, the process, the technology that we use that brings to you. And the last 2 years in Istanbul Airport and Dubai airports, elements of that. For example, in Istanbul, we were able to reduce the runway occupancy time use of technology, which generated additional capacity on the existing runways without any need to put any additional infrastructure. Dubai airports, AOCC, they have a passenger flow modeling, works with AI, with a lot of information coming to it, highly predictive, very accurate. It allows us to respond to potential disruptions or potential peaks of the operation well in advance, get ready for it, so the passenger never actually feels what's going on behind the scenes. So these are really disruptive ideas, creating value on the innovation sense. And we are seeing more and more coming as the employees, as the ecosystem actually engages with it.
Well, you touched on a number of things here. I
If I can jump in, because it's very important also the collaboration when we are talking about innovation. So with Ismail, he hosted us last year, and we also see the Airport Operation Center, a solution of a startup and Airbus AI, and then we engage them to develop solutions to improve our capacity in terms of effort detection. So at the break, we were talking with another startups that we are testing the solution here. So also this is part of innovation. So discussing about the solution and also be open to share the best solution, because at the end we really need to put innovation, develop innovation in our airports at the same time.
You're right about sharing best practices. Everyone can start thinking of their own stuff, but sometimes you try to reinvent the wheel, and it's good to be able to share because there's new solutions that are out there.
This is the true collaboration happening, and having this kind of environment to be able to share this and invite everyone, I think that's the goal. The more we get this involvement, the more collaboration. It doesn't matter if it's a 10 million report or 100 million report, still the benefits will be realized by everyone. And we're quite happy with what we started and we're going to continue with that. It's going to go more and more.
I can, interesting, because you're talking about the 3-year horizon with ideas in the pipeline. And one question I have, I guess, as a follow-up is, some ideas won't go through, like people submit ideas and they're not going to be accepted. So maybe I'll ask Laila for you to comment on that. How do you manage, I won't say the deception, but the fact that some ideas will not go through, and you don't want to discourage employees to submit ideas. You want to make sure that there's a fair answer on why we're not going to go through and not kill okay, why do I submit that? So,
see, that's the beauty of them. We try to convey that message a lot. Whether it's a problem statement or whether it's an improvement statement, we try to put, okay, what will be the value coming out from this one? And we acknowledge that at the end of validation process, of proof of concept process, or demonstration process, we may not reach those values that we're expecting. That doesn't mean that it's failed. Actually, it actually proves something else, that we need to improve some other elements to make it workable, or maybe it's really not ready to go in that direction. So next stage, we don't need to put more efforts into that phase. So we can't shut it down like, oh, it's failed. It's not failing. Even proving that it's not working is actually a successful part of that. We need to acknowledge that. And it's going to be the case. I mentioned 450 cases. Even the guys submitting those ideas, they are aware that all of them are going to get realized. But if you can really get out of that 450, 10% of it creating real value to us, and proving the others maybe not proving, that's still a very, very successful. So that's where we need to focus on. It's not failure element, it's proving the concept is not working or working.
It's not a matter of success or failure. We have a conversion rate in our acceleration program. So how many startups develop a solution after the POC? So 43%. So what it means 57. But also Roger Federer said after his retirement he lost 48% of the points. So it's very important to look at failure in a positive way. So we have to learn about failure. Is innovation is part of. There are a lot of founders right now, billionaires, that fail a lot. So it's important to understand when, what, and why failure in a project. Learn from this and develop a new project.
Laila, would you concur with that? Do you find it's a bit of the same thing? You want to learn from those mistakes, share your findings with the employees, and don't say it's a disappointment, but it's something we learned. Would you have the same feeling in your organization?
There is a disappointment, of course, when your idea is not accepted, but there is usually the reason, or it's not according to main idea of this idea bank. It's not innovative, it doesn't bring any efficiency, benefits, or so on and so on. But I think it is important the way he gives this answer, and that's why in this working group we have internal communication specialist who is trying to find the right wording for each and every person who submitted idea, so the person doesn't feel offended, and yeah, try to make the best out of this situation.
I want to make sure I leave time for people if you have any questions. But if anyone have a question would like to ask the panelists, don't be shy. People working and walking with microphones, invite some questions or think about it because I'll come back to you another time before the session ends. Otherwise, oh, there's a question here up front. If you can, for a second row here, please.
This question is for Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you did mention that you were working on taking the airport outside the airport. I just made that up, but something to that extent where you create the muscle memory because not everybody is traveling every day. What are you doing in that context?
Okay. So when I said working outside the airport, we have developed several initiatives. Thanks also to digital new solution available in the market. So, for instance, two main examples. One, we created a check-in area at the central station in downtown. So, instead is the main train station. You have a little corner of Fiumicino Airport where it's check in both passenger and bags. So passenger can go to the terminal, to the station, is in the city center. So also they can spend the last day of their holidays without baggage and make the most from their visit in Rome. Another project that we developed is an OTA, online travel agency, in order to attract traffic in Rome. So people not looking for departing or arriving in Rome. People, for instance, going from New York to Budapest. So we are working to attract the traffic thanks to digital solution. We deployed with the Travel Eye group, so Resta. So we called it flight and visit Rome. So every passenger looking for a flight that is possible to connect via Rome can buy their ticket online, and thanks to this digital solution, we can enrich their experience in airport Rome with a lot of services and opportunities that we are developing, also in order to increase ancillary revenues.
Any other questions? All right, Manuel, I'm going to follow up because you set up an organization structure to drive innovation. You've got the innovation arm as well. How would you say were the main challenges that to really implement across once all these ideas were? What are the main challenges you face?
The main challenge is behind the scene, because it's easy to talk about innovation hub, startups, ventures. So it's very easy, but the hardest thing is to work inside a company, revise all the internal processes. For instance, when we talk about procurement, and in Europe there is a regulation very tough. The public tender is no easy to attract startups from other parts of the world that doesn't understand the reason why to have a tender. So a lot of questions from the startups are about okay, for you the solution is okay, but deploy I can't because I have to do a tender. So we have to work inside the company to obviously be compliant to the law, but at the same time create a fast track to allow us to develop innovation through a fast track process. So it's not easy, and also it's not easy to work on the field, on other colleagues' field, because at the end when we work about innovation, we innovate processes in terms of operation, commercial stuff. So we have to engage very well can create a good relationship with the other department, other colleagues to develop innovations. So we don't want to we don't want to create an innovation, not innovation as an innovation, as innovation, but as a way to help them to develop a solution to improve the process.
I've got a final question for each of you, probably not prepared, so you guys will have time to think about this, but you will be my guinea pig. Once we sit on the stage 10 years from now, talking about innovation, talking about this thing, so what would you be most proud of to report 10 years from now in terms of driving this innovation in music?
I think what I would be proud that happens 10 years later is to be able to say that we were able to attract new generation into aviation, bring that new fresh thought process and innovation as part of the DNA. That's, we talk about all of these issues, but in the medium to long term, the main problem that I would expect is to have the people. If the people in the aviation really well trained, know what they're doing, know where they want to go, how they want to go, we need to attract that new generation into it. That is not happening as strong as we think that it's happening. We don't have enough military controllers, we don't have enough ground handlers, we don't have enough airport operators. We don't have enough aviation law professionals. And still, you see the numbers. We have been through pandemics. The numbers are going up and up. And we have sustainability in front of us, which we should embrace rather than fear from it. And all of these new people, really, with the new ideas, bring into the aviation. Hopefully, 10-year time, I would like to say I'm enjoying my time in Rome and retire, and new generations picking up and taking it to the further.
Laila, what about you?
In 10 years' time, I hope yes, we will have a new terminal, we will have at least 12 million passengers, and we will have a culture where innovative ideas are living and also can be successfully implemented.
Manuel, any hubs around the world?
Okay, I would be happy if the industry will see innovation not as an option, but as a part of their strategy. Also, in relation with smaller airports, it's tough for them to develop an innovation hub or something like that. But it's important for the industry to invest in innovation because we are talking about expenses, costs, are investment that give you gain in the future.
All right, so that's all the time we have. I want to thank my panelists. Please, warm round of applause for them.
That was really interesting. It gives us a good foundation in explaining that that should be part of everybody's strategy, every airport or organization's strategy. But we're going to continue on with this same format, but we're going to have our second panel, this time focusing on how innovation can improve daily operations. And I mentioned the ACI World 2024 Insight Survey that was just closed last week. So I asked them to give me one stat about operations. So the question was to the airports around the world, what are your top operational initiatives to be implemented within the next 3 years? Now listen to this, 72% of the airports plan to implement AI tools. Not a surprise, it could be the large language modules, the machine learning, and computer vision. Over 90% of the airports intend to have the business intelligence tools and dashboards ready and available for all of their staff. Also very important when it comes to data analytics. This one I like the most, and hopefully Julia won't mind that I'm already talking about this, is that 70% of the airports will have airport CDM complete at their airports, local CDM also, and automated safety management systems.
So, with that, I'd like to welcome Giulio Renici from Aeroporto di Roma, who will be the moderator and his panelists to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please come on the stage for our guests on the panel. I don't feel so innovative to have a piece of paper, but I think that it will help anyway. Please, thank you. Thank you. Have a seat. So first, I'm panel to be proud and privileged to be the moderator of this, and here today you can see a wide range of panelists representing the whole industry in terms of the technology, in terms of the stakeholders, in terms of airlines and even airports. So I would like to start with Mr. Wang Lubing, which is Beijing Daxing Airport General Manager, International Technology Department. If you want to present yourself and the company, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kulia. Dear friends, good afternoon. I am Wang Yuping, the General Manager of International and Technology Department of Beijing Daxing International Airport. It's my great honor to be here. Daxing Airport is the second international airport in China, and it was put into operation in September 2019. The passenger throughput this year will reach nearly 50 million, exceeding the terminal designed capacity. We are planning to build a satellite terminal in the near future. Daxing Airport gives great importance to innovation. Our concept is safe, green, humanity airport, best service and the best experience for customers. Dear friends, we invite you to visit Daxing Airport and to enjoy a unique experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we get into Newton, Senior Product Manager for the Optimization, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Gareth Lawton. I've been innovating in aviation for about 25 years now. That includes some time with NSPs, airlines, airports now, and some suppliers. In that time, I've spent a lot of time working with AI and data, so I've been able to see that really grow into the topics that we're talking about here today, so that's great. In my current role at CETA, I'm looking after CETA's AI-powered total airport management solution, something that we call Total Optimizer.
Thank you. This is to Danny Houston, our Legal Vice President, PR. Please.
Hi everyone, glad to be here. Love hearing the word innovation and innovative on everybody's top of mind there. It's a company that provides smart airside solutions, most specifically. Our star of the show is the auto dolly tub. So we provide autonomous baggage and cargo tractors, trying to really take airports and airlines into the future of aviation. We have been deployed around the world already, and of course are always looking to grow. But you can see here we've had some really exciting work done in Singapore, Changi International Airport. We've just kicked off with Schiphol, Cincinnati, in the United States, and in Germany. So excited to talk about innovation and how we believe that's going to push ramp operations forward.
Thank you. Stuart Holstock, please, from Lufthansa. Wider roles in the Lufthansa group, please.
Yes, hello everybody, very happy to be here. My role at Lufthansa is I head up a department looking at top strategic projects across our group operations, so looking at how we can improve efficiency in operations amongst our group airlines together. And one of those topics is ramp automation. That's kind of the second hat I have on today on this panel, because we're really pushing to see how we can automate more of the processes that we see on the ramp. And then a few words about me. My background is I studied physics, worked in consulting for a while, and across different industries within Lufthansa as well, Lufthansa Cargo, Lufthansa Systems in IT and strategic areas. You're always innovating yourself into a new area. And just in time, that is for you to keep changing, to keep up with what's new and what's we can really benefit from new technologies and new knowledge. And that's why it's very exciting part of this panel discussion to talk about innovation in our industry, because it's obviously just important for all of us to keep ahead of the curve and keep. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. And last but not least, get Timus. I hope that my pronunciation is not too bad, which is maybe for Europe. So please, thank you.
I'm Jeff, nice to meet you all. I'm in charge of the business for Innovate for Europe. My team is responsible to bring innovation to the market, to the airports that we all like and love. ADB is known for airfield lighting, token guidance, and tower systems. I think that's common knowledge with a lot of airports. We started as a startup, as a lot of other companies do in the first half of the previous century. So a lot of small startups that look at us as a big company now can be reassured that innovation is something that you start with, that's in your DNA, and that you carry throughout your business as you keep focusing on your customers. Because that's the essence of what we do. We listen to our customers, we hear what issues they have on a day-to-day basis, and in function of that, we think of solutions. And that's what we call innovation. It's something that has been said in the previous panel, and that's how we operate our business, and that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. So let's jump on the questions since the topic is hard and there is lots to cover when it comes to innovation for operations. So I would say, since we have this unique opportunity of have like a wider view and wider perspective in terms of the industry, myself being with airports of Rome, I would start with Mr. Wang with a question around the fact, how collaboration can lead to a more efficient, sustainable, and scalable solution in terms of operations. Please.
Okay. I think safety is based on for aviation industry. Any innovation and new technology application should be based on safety, and safety capacity also need innovation to support. So the innovation and the safety is not contradictory. They can be balanced and mutually promoted by cooperation. For example, in Daxing Airport, we developed and put into operation 66 intelligent security tech lanes to realize self-verification, automatically match passenger with their baggage, and automatically baggage retrieve, sorting, and return. This is a successful case for innovation enhancing security. Cross-industry learning and cooperation is catalyst for innovation. We instead the concept, joint development, co-governance, and common sharing. Daxing Airport cooperated with railway industry to build a comprehensive transport center under the terminal, integrate high-speed rail, intercity rail, city metro, and others, allowing the passenger to reach downtown Beijing less than 20 minutes. This is a practice of cross-industry cooperation at the Daxing Airport. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Gareth, you want to pick up on this since Sita has wide experience and all this digital hub, but even it's going with the industry in this sense. So please.
Yeah, thank you. So airports are telling us a very consistent story. It's very consistent with what we heard earlier. You know, we're seeing that they're talking about increased demand, they're talking about increased capacity, they're having difficulty getting teams, they're having difficulty keeping those teams where they should be. Where they do have an APOC, that APOC is usually overloaded with information, there's just so much going on. And you have teams that have built up over years that are now thinking in silos, and even when they do have KPIs, they're trying to deal with their own problem, and they're not seeing that holistic vision. So all these areas, we think AI is going to be critical and is really the enabler that's going to help us tackle these problems. But we don't see it like these sort of sensationalist news stories you see on TV of evil AI coming and taking all of our jobs, etc., and terminating children, etc. So no, none of that. We think AI can be treated as a junior member of your team. You can give it repetitive, simpler tasks. You still need to tell the AI what it needs to achieve. You need to tell it what is important. You need to check that it's done it the way you need, but you don't need to be afraid of it, and it's going to be a welcome thing. So far from replacing the humans, we are promoting the humans to do things that the humans are more good at. So that could be strategic thinking, collaborating with other humans, all those things that humans are better at. So far from lowering the value of human time, we're actually increasing the value of human time by using AI to do the repetitive and less fun parts. So the way that CETA follows that policy in our own product is that the way that the APOC team internal optimizer is that they are, instead of getting into the weeds, they are prioritizing a set of KPIs. So this could be sustainability, it could be on-time performance, it could be revenue generation, and so on. And by prioritizing these in a relative way, they're telling the AI what sort of plan you want to generate, and you can change that at any time to generate a new plan to react more. So really, it's an enabler, it's an empowerment, it's not a replacement. We've tested this with airports, the leading airports, and we can see not only does the optimizer find many millions in dollars of efficiency, which is what we all care about, but also stakeholders are much happier because you're able to experiment, agree, and collaborate much more than you were when you were down in the detail and not able to get to that strategic level beforehand. So that was my breakdown on the question.
Thank you. Tony, on this being one of the leaders on the artwork from the automotive, obviously on the aviation industry, we just saw in the pictures of the Ego in Singapore. So what's your takeaway on this?
I think, AI automation, one of the key words is safety, as you mentioned, and that's kind of why this question always comes to mind. And I think we need to always safety is a big word, but there's a lot of different caveats. And what I mean by that is automation can not only make, say, a baggage handler's job safer in that the injuries that they sustain, the weather that they have to go into day in and day out. In Singapore, as mentioned, we see just a bit of rain. So, you're in there, you're in the snow, you're cold. So how can we help support ground workers by helping with automation to reduce that load, right? So there's safety in that. Then there's also safety of the millions of dollars of equipment, all the other ground handling equipment on the ground, all of the airplanes. So, many times you see scuffs and jet bridges that are hit. With automation, you have that repetition, right? So the same place every time the vehicle is going to pull up. And if the jet bridge is in a different location, then the automation kicks in and says, nope, I need to adjust accordingly. So you safeguard your people, you can make a safer environment for the equipment itself, all while trying to use it to enhance, efficiencies and optimization from the vehicles on the ground. There's a lot of reports of who knows what person A, B, or C are doing. And again, as you mentioned, the key is it's hard to find people since COVID and to recover. So if you think of that from a safety perspective, hiring faster, maybe putting people out to work quicker, ready for the job, but you've got to turn around the plane. You think, okay, again, automation can step in and help, increase that, maybe move people to more customer-facing roles that you will always need that one-on-one handhold, and yeah, make a safer, more efficient environment.
Good, sorry. On safety, and the safety of mixing both hardware and software with such a unique solution, I think it's the perfect place between the two answers, right? So what's your...
Yeah, it's a big challenge, of course. Our customers, they rely on us for guidance, right? And people use our systems, whatever side of the business is a pilot, we need to be guided in a safe way across the airfield. The question to us was elevated. We don't want just reliable products that provide guidance, but can you guys please contribute also to efficiency, make sure that operations run more smoothly, etc. So we had to translate that question into a bigger program that we call Airside 4.0. What we basically do in that program is to look at all our basic assets, and the first task is to make them intelligent. Take a simple light fitting, which is now an intelligent fitting that can sense and communicate. Our docking guidance units are IT capable, are AI capable, so we upgrade our hardware. We put on top a layer of connectivity to get the data out. This can be high boundary communication for some applications. This can be IoT based for some small data points that we get from light fittings, for example. And then we provide this data to the traditional systems that enable it to the cloud. And that's the point where it's interesting, of course, but this is the point where we can start analyzing the data that we harvest in our program, and we can bring the outcomes and the findings of these data to our customers. We can do that in a data format that the customer requests, for example, dialogue we have with ADR at this moment in time, or we package it into specific applications that drive specific outcomes for our customers, like predictive maintenance programs, etc. So that's what we do, that's how we do it. The challenge, of course, here is why we introduce all that change, do our operations remain safe? And that, for us as technologists, a basic risk management activity, right? This is what we have done since the 4th and previous century, and this is what we will keep doing. This is our expertise. But the aspect of collaboration is very important there, because what we expect from airlines, airports to contribute is to review together with the pace of innovation that we impose, the processes and regulation, right? And this is a big challenge now. As we do, for example, automated docking, it's interesting that we can do it, technology is available, but the procedures around FOB, for example, are very strict, right? It involves human interaction, it involves a lot of assurance. The way the UK does it is different from the way the Emirates do it. So that entire dialogue and that entire collaborative aspect of innovation is something that is very important as well.
Thank you. Stuart, to close up with the circle from a wider perspective, such as Lufthansa, what's your takeaway?
Yes, so at Lufthansa Group, as I mentioned before, we're focusing at the moment on what we automate on the ramp. And when I think about safety, one thing I'd like to add to it is, don't forget at the moment, a lot of the ramp changed in terms of the manual processes that are taking place in the manual type. And this also means that a lot of our staff working on the ramp are lifting types of weights in bags every day that are causing them significant injuries. So that's obviously costing us in the industry in terms of sickness days and what have you, but it's also a human factor. So safety, for me, in automation is a very key thing that we can improve the industry for future generations to make it not just more attractive, but also a healthier place to work. And coming to the topics that we're working on in Lufthansa, we're focusing on 3 main areas in terms of automation. We're pushing to see how we can automate the passenger bridges, docking and undocking. The point that I just mentioned before, in terms of safety of the loading and unloading of bags, we believe robotics can really help us to automate that, loading and unloading bags on and off of carts and in and out of URT containers. And with companies like Arrigo also looking at how we can automate all the ground service equipment and what's driven on the ramp. So very exciting areas, but I wanted to pick up on 2 points you mentioned in your question: collaboration and scalability. So cross-industry collaboration, it's obviously very beneficial to see what's happening also outside our industry, in the shipping industry, So the cruise industry, we've had exchanges looking at how they build digital twins to simulate their presence, and we think there's a lot of advances that we can use in this area for our industry to simulate how the ramp in the future could be, how can we optimize how all our resources and equipment is being used. And there's a really great example, I think, from our industry about how cross-industry collaboration can really benefit us, and I honestly forget which way round it is. But think of the conveyor belt where you pick up your bag, and think of a sushi restaurant. And one was copied from the other, so it's really beneficial to look outside of your own boxes and what you can learn from other industries. And then the second point you mentioned in the question was scalability. And there it's been mentioned a lot already. I think collaboration is really key in this industry for us to be able to come together to define certain requirements and standards across the industry. And that's why I'm very pleased to be here as an airline at an airport conference, where I think we, airlines, airports, ground handlers, we mentioned before, regulatory authorities, also insurance companies, we all need to come together to define what is it that we're trying to achieve in terms of automation, to give companies like Origo a bigger platform to sell. Because if each airport just goes out and looks for their solution bespoke just for that airport, I think it's very hard for us to get that scalability. So I think it's really great that we're taking steps in this conference to see how we can work together.
Thank you. Yeah, such an interesting topic. But since myself, I get the possibility of being a bit of a challenge here to actually to deep dive a bit more about what about the sustainability goals and the value case around all our activities when it comes to innovation. Now, we always have to keep in mind that we want to struggle for efficiency, for excellence, but we want to even achieve our sustainability goals, we want to achieve our cost effectiveness. So what about the point of view of Beijing Airport? Please, Mr. Wang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In that airport, takes great importance to sustainable development and take many measures. For example, utilization of the electricity vehicles in the rear side high at 80%. APU replacement facilities is in operation to decrease the aircraft carbon emissions. All of buildings in that airport are green buildings, and terminal ranked the highest 3-star green building. The energy source in the airport is wind power and photovoltaic power. This green power comes from 300 kilometers away north to Beijing. The carbon emission is reduced by 150,000 tons every year from a certain point of view. Beijing Airport is already reached the carbon neutrality. At the same time, we obtain good economic benefits. And this is a very interesting topic. If you are interested, please contact me for details. That's all.
Thank you. Danny, from your side, Danny, I think your advice should be a perfect fit. I think it's electric power, there's potential savings in terms of labor, in terms of lots of things, right? So what's your take on the
Definitely. I mean, we believe we didn't even think about trying to retrofit on existing, petrol tubs. The idea is electric. And when you start to think about what is one of the fastest ways to start reducing some of your emissions, just exchanging all of the types of fleets, the catering trucks, the baggage tractors, pushbacks, all of these things can start to decrease. And then you're also seeing things happen where there's idle time and people are just, waiting in a delayed flight and they're stuck over here. And even if you start to change that to electric, that's also kind of, inefficient in a way if you're just thinking about. So it's all about really understanding where and how can you get the big for your buck when it comes to electricity. And I think collaboration, there's something to be said there that we've noticed. People come to us about how am I going to charge a vehicle, right? Infrastructure is being rolled out, but infrastructure is expensive. And what we see is whether it's an airport down or different airlines lease spaces, there's a lot of government funding around being electric. And people are just throwing chargers kind of in random places without actually thinking about their 5 to 10 year electrification plan. And I think being more collaborative within your own airport environment with your airlines and your ground handlers to say, okay, we want to go electric, full electric fleet in 5 years. So what does that look like? Before we start placing a charger here and there, you know, if you're going to go 10%, you need X amount of chargers. Here's where we should put them. And then you start to kind of grow together, and everyone inspires the other to be able to meet those goals, to be able to make electrification realized at a much more cheaper level, because not everybody's buying a million different chargers. So I think you know, we recognized that very quickly and built our own kind of digital twin so that we can show an airport what that roadmap looks like. But you really need to plan that out and understand that electrification journey. And then again, many other aspects, of course, can be put forward for sustainability, but it's just kind of the easiest go-to when it comes to vehicles on the ground and that switch.
Thank you. I think you put in Stuart, you know, in terms of collaboration, but even in terms of Lufthansa being one of the airlines most advanced in terms of testing, in terms of pushing out the boundary forward. So what's your take on those KPIs? I mean, I think as the main one, our operational efficiency throughout innovation.
I mean, from an airline point of view, it was already said by Dubai Airport. I mean, in the industry as a whole, the main KPI is how can we reduce the amount of jet taken on fuel that we're using. You know, so whether it's looking at improving or supporting the research in SAF, or helping to explore new energy sources of battery and liquid hydrogen, that's the biggest lever that we have in the industry. But for individual airports, of course, everything helps, and there's a lot that can be done. And with the topic of ramp automation that I'm pushing for, we really hope that when we roll out new technologies in terms of autonomous vehicles, that these vehicles then will be electric. So that will also make a big difference. And I think, you know, this topic of sustainability has obviously got a lot of attention. So I just hope, like us at Lufthansa, that when projects are started or when strategies are thought out, that the sustainability KPIs become more important. This is something that we track for. And also when projects are approved, it's not just purely looked from a business case point of view on the financials, but also on the climate footprint that we have to make a decision, should we go ahead with this project or that project. And that's certainly happening on our side, and I can imagine a lot of airports are going down this path as well. If I could come in on that point, so we're seeing quite a worrying trend actually, that airports particularly are seeing sustainability as a new thing, a separate thing, as an isolated thing, and they are treating the solution as, well, we'll go and hire a sustainability team, we'll put them in the sustainability office, we'll give them some money, and then they'll go away. And that isn't really how we think that can be done. If we're really going to tackle this, we have to bring it into that decision-making process. The way that we're trying to do that is to treat these sustainability numbers and goals like the others, so that they can be balanced. Because of course, if you don't do that, you know, your existing teams are going to prioritize what they prioritize today, and you're not going to get to these targets. You've really got to find a way of bringing sustainability into that current decision-making process and not see it separately.
Yeah, on this, I think that your solution was checking on the website and doing a bit of research and doing a bit of homework before I saw lots of KPIs and well structured, and now I've actually been so.
Top of mind, as you can imagine. We started doing power, so for us, sustainability, what we impact is carbon and circularity. The carbon piece we started with already in 2000 when we released our first LED lights, which is now a common fact, right? So this innovation piece is coming to its full bloom, and all major airports are now using this technology. It is more now the interesting part on carbon emission. We focus a lot on switching off what we don't need, right? Every watt you save is a trillion energy plant to recover your carbon equation. So that's very important for us, and our smart systems, of course, support that these days. And interestingly enough, the solutions that drive efficiency at the airports, like, let's call it the follow the green system, they also have very, very positive impact on sustainability at the same time. So by focusing on efficiency, we also get very, very important sustainability side effects. And in many instances, this is even more convincing to our customers these days than the fact of the efficiency gain alone. If you can make sure that every aircraft that touches down gets to descend in the shortest possible time through an intelligent guidance system, that's saving a lot of fuel, of course. You're not, you can switch off the systems that you do not need for the guidance. So that way of thinking is really ingrained in our system engineering department, and that's something that we do. On the circularity aspect, data-driven maintenance is important there. We have at the major airport around 40,000 light fittings that all need regular maintenance. So you can expect these light fittings to last 7 to 15 years if they're treated well and maintained well. So it's a huge task. And by implementing technology and applying innovation, data-driven maintenance, we call it, we will know exactly when light fittings start failing, and when we can proactively intervene and fix it before they really break. So on the circularity equation, that is a big plus, of course. And then last but not least, what we also do with our platforms, that we offer refurbishment programs. At Schiphol Airport, we have last year renewed the complete runway after 7 years. So we have taken all their light fittings back to our factory. We have overhauled them and tested them. So they're back in service now for another 7 years. So also there, in terms of circularity, we check a major box for our customers.
Thank you, thank you. So we have a challenge inside the challenge. We have 10 minutes left for lunch, so we get aware of that. But which bottlenecks we see in the industry that can be solved by innovation, especially in terms of, let's say, data analytics and mostly automation, which it's a hot topic. We saw it this morning. We even covered it today more than once. So please, Mr. Von Lubing, if you can elaborate on that.
Okay. I think this question is a big topic. I try to short my words. Airport operation is a complex system, including flight process, passenger process, mail process, baggage process, and data process, and so on. They are all facing bottlenecks. It is the same situation at the Dutch airport, and we constantly looking for better solutions, especially using intelligence, automation, and the digitalization tools. We hope to strengthen communication and cooperation with industry partners. I want to say, let us join together to transform the bottleneck into opportunities. That's all.
Thank you. I think you made a great point on collaboration. So again, please, what's the takeaway from CWP? What we said, I mean, a pretty open platform, lots of brands, and
Absolutely. So if you're trying to find low-hanging fruit in an ecosystem where you have different functions, which we all know we do, and airports are very good places, there's no way of avoiding that. But what's happening today is these teams are chasing individual KPIs. So the baggage person is trying to get so many baggage through. Revenue person is chasing not a certain amount of non-air revenue, and they're making decisions. But they are not, because they're not together, they are cancelling each other out quite a lot. So you already have this efficiency, but because you're not joining it together, you're cancelling out the efficiency you've already got. So we see this as low-hanging fruit, because you have the ability to optimize these things. Because you're not doing it together, a lot of that is going straight back out of the window. So if you can really, obviously use data and tools, but just generally collaborate better, you're going to find you're going to get more efficiency with the tools capabilities you already have. So we think this is probably the lowest hanging fruit in this area. Of course, you know, there's more sci-fi things you can do than that, but you know.
Yes, I think that on this depends on the experience that you operate in different things. Now there are like airports that are more advanced and less, so how you actually see it as important.
Definitely, I mean, all the customers, of course, they evolve at their own pace when it comes to this topic. But the general concept remains the same, right? Data analytics make you smarter than any human can be, right? That's the big win. So collecting data as much as you can is key. Second point, of course, sharing this data is an important one. That's a collaborative aspect again that comes here. And then thirdly, automation, of course. I mean, machines can move much faster than humans, right? They can execute faster than humans. But of course, there's a safety aspect here. How do we know that the decision that we take based on the analyzed data is safe to automatically execute and run a process? So that's the big question that we need to answer in the safety cases that go with our systems. But in general, those are the two main factors that we try to impact, right? The data analytics, data collection, data analytics, and then automation of processes like automated docking. Automated docking solves a few problems, right? It impacts time-limited operations because you don't wait for people to come to the stand and push a button, for example. At the same time, the auto docking also, I completely lost my thread here. I apologize. But in general, these are the two main drivers: automation and data analytics. Work together.
Thanks a lot. Yes. Thank you. Danny, I think once again, from data to automation is basically your business model.
I think we've all been kind of saying the same thing on the bottlenecks, is the working in silos. We've seen some just really interesting places where data not coming from us would be very helpful. I mentioned a digital twin planning tool. So we work with customers and we say, okay, how long right now does it take your baggage handler to offload a bag? How many bags per minute? You start asking from an airline level because they're trying to create a more efficient experience and they don't know. And some of these questions that are pretty simple KPIs, it doesn't seem that the airline knows what the airport wants or the airline really knows what their ground handlers are doing. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to hit a certain group point, but when you really dive in, data and analytics, a camera where bags are loaded and unloaded, so that you can actually say, wow, we're unloading 30 bags a minute consistently, or wow, at lunchtime, at a 1 p.m. peak, we really see a slump there. So just using data and AI to be able to capture those data points so that you can actually understand when you're implementing automation, what is that increase, and again, where's the best place to do it. And then that's where I guess automation can help, because it's the same every time. The accountability is there. So when an automated vehicle is on its journey, you know exactly the mission time projected, and if it deviates in any way, shape, or form, you know why. You can check into a catering truck that perhaps took too long, and you can go back and check that out. So just really understanding and connecting the different silos so that data can flow from the ground operations all the way airlines into the airports, and just create a more holistic approach to move the entire organization forward faster.
Thank you. I think it is a perfect fit for Stuart to elaborate on the relation between airlines and the airports, and in mind such topics as automation and data sharing at the same time.
Many points have already been said, but when I think about the challenges, I think there are three main ones. I mean, the first is maybe the easiest to mention in terms of operations. Ultimately, what we want to do, we want to be as efficient as possible when the aircraft is on the ground, which means we want to have that turnaround running as efficiently as possible. And I quite like that in a previous talk, thinking of the pipe organ. I mean, getting an aircraft turned around is so complex. As you mentioned, so many different players, the airports, the airline, the ground handlers, also different companies amongst the ground handlers, they're all coming together to just do that one turnaround. So that's the ultimate challenge. How do we get that as efficient as possible and keep improving on it? And that's why we need innovation. And then the other two challenges that I think about, particularly in Europe, but also in other places in the world, is this whole demographic change. So it is getting harder and harder to find people to do the jobs that we have currently on the ground. And the third challenge connected to that is that in one of the EU countries already, there is a new law that restricts soon how much people will be able to lift per day while working as a bagger. So assuming that gets rolled out to the rest of the EU, that will be a huge challenge for us with the demographic change to overcome. And for all three of these points, I think automation is really key, if not the only thing, but it's really key to drive efficiencies and overcome those demographic challenges.
Just buttoning up, we were at a conference just a few weeks ago, sitting on a panel together, funny enough, and we were talking about this statistic, and it was actually kind of quantified, the amount that people could actually lift and how many hours that would likely equate to, and it was 2 to 2.5 hours. So how can you, it's already hard enough to find workers, but then how can you find shift workers? They'll probably want more time than 2.5 hours. So you really have to find a way to support and make the most efficient use of the time.
I think we can, for the next couple of hours, we can actually just be on time, so please use applause for the guests here. Thank you. Thank you. So we're on time and we can proceed.
Very interesting, and thank you for being on time. That's very, very helpful. As this does come over, before you guys leave, we do have a couple of announcements. So I just would like to say that lunch will be sponsored again by Korean Airports Corporation, so thank you for that. But in addition to grabbing some lunch and being able to rejuvenate and get ready for the afternoon sessions, the organizers have also arranged for an informal drop-in session with our Chief Information Security Officers, or CISOs. There are some tables that are set up in the back, and we're going to have some of our experts back there. We have Eric Gauthier from Grupa de Airport de Paris, Simone Bonzanella from Venice Airport or South SPA, and Mario Brigado from Aeroporto di Roma. They're here for you just to come in, talk to them about anything cybersecurity, what's going on with technology. And with that, I'd like to invite Eric up quickly just to tell us a few words about what's happening. I would like to say, please come back exactly at 2:05. I'll start reminding you at 2 o'clock because we have another busy afternoon. Thanks, Eric.
Sorry. Thank you, Catherine. So I won't be long because I guess you just want to reach to the food. So I'm also, so I work for ADP. I'm also the chairman of cybersecurity task force of ACI Europe. And with my colleagues, we are already here to help you understand how we think actually. Because I think when you see a cyber in your company, you try to avoid it. So today I hope you will do the contrary and talk to us. I have nothing to say actually, no Mario, no Simone, but if you don't come, maybe one day we'll come after you, so I would suggest you do the other way. So I hope to see you. Thanks.